Good evening, everyone. Can I have your attention, please? My name is Katie Service.
Quiet!
Thanks, Chris.
I was a teacher once.
My name is Katie Service. I'm the airport manager. I want to thank you for coming here tonight to go through our strategic plan. We completed a strategic plan in 2018, and we've implemented most of those goals and initiatives that were part of that plan. So we're revisiting and we're looking at a new strategic plan to bring us forward into the future. Just a couple of housekeeping items. We have food on the back table. We have a stamp, so you can stamp your parking pass. That's also on the food table. And we have a sign-in sheet that's going around. So if you don't get a chance to sign it while you're sitting down at these chairs, we're going to put it over next to the food table. With that, I'd like to introduce John Flores, our chair of the Airport Commission, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for attending this evening. I know everyone has busy schedules. There's been some changes in some of the dates, so the fact that you are all here will be exciting as we move this project forward. Really, the goal of the airport is to be as open and as transparent as possible in terms of where we see the future going. And with your help and with your input, hopefully we can build a strategic plan that represents the best interests of the towns of Barnstable, in particular Hyannis, as well as the town of Yarmouth, because lots of flights go over that little section in Hyannis Park, and we're very cognizant of that. So we want to be sure that as this moves forward, that the participatory agenda is as open as it can be. So with that being said, I know that this is a
Workshop.
This is a workshop, but because we have a quorum of the commission meetings, we have to have a roll call. So if we could do a roll call.
Chairman Flores?
Here.
Vice President Lucio?
Here.
Dr. Wiles?
Jones here.
Here.
Commissioner Beerworth? Commissioner Bailey? Commissioner George?
Serious.
Here.
And one final comment, I want to especially thank Vice Chair of the Airport Commission, Commissioner Mark Gio. He's volunteering his time to help develop the strategic plan, leading the workshops as we move forward through the next 4 sessions. So with that being said, again, thank you. Let's be open, let's be constructive, and let's make sure that ultimately that the plan that we develop has the vision that we believe in, has the mission, has the goals, has the objectives, has the indicators of success with some dates, so that we can really feel that once we evaluate that we've really done a good job. So again, thank you all.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. So that we can tell the observers from the participants, if you're not sitting in a seat that has a book, I'm thinking you're an observer. If you want to participate, please come up, grab a seat that has a book, and we can get rocking and rolling here. There's some up here. Yep.
I think about my season. Tell me when and I will.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. So, as explained in the invite to you all, this is 4 sessions. It's 4 2-hour sessions. Typically, I do this exercise 16 hours over 2 days, 2 8-hour days back to back. But obviously, everybody has lives and can't do that sort of thing. So we're going to do it in 8 hours over 4 days, 2 hours apiece. I've never done it this way before, so it's going to be moving pretty fast. But I've built in time at the end for questions, and if anything comes up during the presentation that doesn't fit in with what we're talking about, we'll throw that into a parking lot, and then we'll get it at the end of the session. John said, Mark Gio, in addition to being Vice Chair of the Airport Commission, I do this for a living, I guess is the best way to put it. I just came back from Anchorage, where I'm working with the University of Alaska on their 3rd strategic plan update. This is different. If you've done strategic planning before, you're going to find this different. But I think you're going to find that it makes sense, that it's pretty simple. And once you figure out where all the parts are and what they're supposed to do, you kind of scratch your head and say, well, why weren't we doing this before? All right? So.
Mr. Vice Chairman, can I have your attention, please?
Absolutely,
There's
sir.
there's a machine or something on behind us. It's very difficult to hear you. Is there a microphone available?
We have Mark, we have a microphone.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna move around, okay? If you have trouble hearing me, just raise your hand. If I get too many repeats, we'll figure out something else. But thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, first things first. Let's do introductions so that everybody knows who's here and what your backgrounds are and everything. If we could just go around and share your name, your organization, brief background, and expectations. I'll start. You already gave you my name. I told you that I do strategic planning for a living. That's one of the things that I do. Also a movie producer, but we'll talk about that later. And I worked for the FAA for 35 years, and it was with the FAA that I developed the strategic planning model years ago when, after the controller strike in '81, when 12,500 controllers got fired, and they hired a brand new workforce. This brand new workforce had only worked for one employer in their adult life, and that was the US military. So they were used to a very autocratic, command-demand, top-down system. They went to work for the FAA, and 5 years later they formed another union, which makes you wonder whether they fired the right people in '81. I don't know. I wasn't there. Both the agency and the Controllers Union, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, didn't want to start off in an adversarial relationship the way PACO ended, the previous union that ended up being decertified. So they got together and they went through a process that was called Quality Through Partnership, in which teams of union people and managers would get together and they would problem solve issues. Whatever the team came up with, the manager would abide by and the union wouldn't grieve it. But the problem was that we started getting outcomes that were all over the place. So we had to create some sort of a context in which these decisions were being made. And that's where this model came from. It's been used since the early 90s at local governments, nonprofit organizations, public universities, the FAA. So that's my brief background. My expectations are that we're going to come out of this after the 4th session with enough pieces in place that we can craft a finalized strategic plan, and that you'll be able to follow it and track it and kind of be excited about it because you created it. Okay? Bob, you want to start?
Hi, I'm Bob Surratt. I'm not representing any organization. I was the primary drafter of 2 strategic plans in my 40 years. One for the Pentagon and one for CIA. I have used up all my expectations and I don't have any left over for this.
All right, good job. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Paul Nizwicki. I'm the CEO of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce. Background, former Marine, former assistant town manager in this town, ran the Cape Cod Commission for 10 years, and I'm just here to help.
Awesome, thank you, Paul. Yes, sir.
My name's David Anthony, 26 years with the town. I'm Director of Asset Management, work out of the Town Manager's Office. I've done a lot of land use issues, helped to do much of the procurement to build this building that we're in today. Supported a number of different airport commissions and commissioners over the years. I think expectations here, I would like to see us come up with a good community model to be able to move the airport forward to more success building on its past practices.
Thank you, David.
I'm Carol Shagandir. I'm not here in any professional capacity. I'm a homeowner in a close by neighborhood, and I'm here very curious to see what comes of this.
Thank you, Carol.
I'm Christine Greeley. I'm a retired school administrator in Roanoke House in Yarmouth for 43 years, been a full-time resident for the last 16. I am currently serving as the Yarmouth representative to the Airport Commission, and has to do a lot with concerns about the implications for the residential neighborhoods and things around the airport as the airport expands versus the neighborhoods expanding into the airport. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Linda Bolliger from Hyannis Park Civic Association.
Turn around so they can get the ladder started.
No,
look at me.
I'm Linda Bolliger, I'm president of Hyannis Park Civic Association, and my expectation is that the voices of the neighbors will be heard.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'm Katie Atchison from the Cape Cod Chamber, Executive Director of the Cape Cod Blue Economy Foundation. My background with the airport is that Katie and Katie together, the last time I was in this space specifically, we had a high school robotics competition going on. So I'm really, it's not necessarily an expectation, but an interest in the community development, the relationships that the airport has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Hi, I'm Kyle Pedestini, Community and Economic Development Planner for the town of Barnstable. Just really here to listen, learn, and participate.
Your name one more time?
Kyle Pedestini. Yep.
Kyle, thank you, Kyle.
Hi, I'm Kim McDonald. I work at the administration office at the airport, and I guess I don't have any expectations. My first experience.
Thank you, Kim.
Christina Lounsbury. I work for the airport. I've been with the town 29 years, the airport 21. And obviously as part of the team, my expectations are just help in any way that I can.
Thank you.
Helene Medeiros, the Area General Manager for here at the Cape Cod Gateway Airport, Atlantic Aviation, also in Worcester. And I also assist in managing the JetBlue operations on Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, and here in Hyannis. And expectations, I just look forward to assisting with whatever I can. Thank you.
Helene?
Yes.
Helene?
Yes.
I only met you once, so I just want to make sure.
That's right.
Thank you, Helene.
Yeah.
Joe DeGeorge, Airport Commissioner. My expectations is to see where we're headed in the future with electric aviation and all the things that are going to be coming our way.
Thanks, Joe.
Wendy Yearworth, 40 years in business aviation and commissioner since 2019. I'm interested in reaching out, doing a better job of reaching out to the community, understanding your concerns and trying to address them and gaining more support from the community.
Thank you, Wendy.
My name is Margaret Balo. I'm retired. I'm kind of dipping into different things. But I was in manufacturing and construction and headed up the expansion of the plant, which is a neighbor of the airport, and a former commissioner from 2001 to 2005.
Thank you, Mark.
Hi, everybody. Peter Farrell from Cape Air, 26 years. I'm Vice President of Supply Chain and Sustainability, but I oversee a lot of facilities. We were in 26 locations at one point. We were in 40. So we work in a lot of different airports throughout the country and the Caribbean. So here to help as an airline employee. Thank you.
Your name one more time?
Peter.
Peter. Thank you.
Bob Stewart, I'm a local resident looking for some knowledge, former Air Force officer, Flight Safety Services Corporation, site manager at Westover Air Reserve Base, and I'm just trying to find out what's going on.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep.
My name is Jeff Giegler. I'm the branch manager at Hertz and Hyannis. Just trying to see where the rental cars are going to go in the future with the growth here. So,
thanks, Jeff.
Good evening, everyone. Eric Drugi, Aloft Aviation. We're the guys who patched up the Air Cape Cod building. My expectations are, I'll learn something, and this will be a great experience.
Your name one more time?
Eric.
Eric. Thank you, Eric.
Norm Weil, I'm an airport commissioner. I have about a 50-year relationship with this airport, having been using it, trained here, now as a commissioner, helping the process of keeping it running efficiently. And I'm looking for a process that involves as many people so we get as much input as we possibly can.
Thank you, Noel.
My name is David Fisicello. I'm with the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution. I've served on the National Science Foundation Committee for Research Aircraft. I'm currently president of the Cape Cod Aero Club, which has operations out of here, and our interests are increasing general aviation on Cape Cod.
Thank you.
My name's Gordon Starr. I'm a Barnstable Town Councilor. I'm also Town Councilor for this precinct. The airport's in my precinct, so I have some constituents that have some interest in the airport, so that's what I do.
Thank you, Gordon.
My name is Mark Frangiosa. I'm a resident of Barnstable. I'm also a member of the Cape Cod Aero Club, and I also work for Everest Fuel, which is a vendor here at the airport.
Great, thank you.
Paul Phelan, I live in Barnstable. I'm with a grassroots group that are trying to steer the airport in all forms of travel, including air, trains, ferries, and rail, especially rail. We're seeking a study before anything's done at this airport. So far, we've met with a wall, an actual wall, and blocked ears. But I'm here to listen, and as well as everyone else, see what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
We're seeking a study,
About
a travel study with the airport, the rail, the ferries, which took over the business from here, and also we'd like to include Joint Base Cape Cod in this. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah.
My name is Dave Hom. I live in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and I've done probably about 30, 40 of these strategic plans for private equity. And I'm here as a listener.
Thank you, David.
Hi, my name's Betsy Young. I'm the president of the Greater Hyannis Civic Association. I'm also a resident of Hyannis, and I own a business in Hyannis. And my expectation is, I guess, that the airport will address the concerns of the citizens of Yarmouth and Hyannis.
Thank you, Betsy.
I'm Brad Everson. I'm the aircraft rescue firefighter coordinator here at the airport. Worked at this airport for 16 years, for the town for a little over 10 now. Just grew up all around this airport, love this airport, love aviation, and just curious to see what's going to happen here. So,
thank you, Brad. All right. Oh, John, I'm sorry.
The other name, I've already introduced myself at the beginning. Name is John Flores, sixth generation family member of Cape Cod, and former teacher, coach, school superintendent, retired as a university dean, and 40 years in education. So over that 40 years, I did a lot of strategic planning in various school districts, not only here, but down in Florida. I think as the chairperson of the Airport Commission, I want to be sure that we're as open and as inclusive as we possibly can be, to be sure that what we ultimately come up with is a plan that everybody understands, everybody can relate to, and we can bring it forward to the community as we build the airport over the next amount of years that we're going to be in business. My expectation really is to just have a solid plan at the end that everybody is bought into. It's authored not by Mark Gio, not by me, but by all of us, so that ultimately we all have a feeling that we own this. And the only way strategic plans are successful is that people believe in them and they own them and they do them. Otherwise, they sit on the shelf and they collect dust.
All right, Matt.
Matt Elia, Assistant Airport Manager, and expectations are looking forward to an exciting process and hearing a lot of feedback.
Katie Service, I've been here for nearly 10 years now. Really looking for, my expectation is really a streamlined process to balance between community needs and airport needs going forward into the future as a transportation entity on Cape Cod.
Thanks, Katie.
My name's Mary McDonald. I'm the financial analyst with Cape Cod Gateway Airport. I've been here for 20 years, and I'm here today to listen, to learn, and to take notes of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And we have a newcomer back there.
We're not going to get away.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Yes, I run the Board of Trustees of Cape Cod Community College. So let me introduce Dr. John Cox, President of the Community College.
So I just come out to keep it straight.
Thank you, John. We need that.
John Cox, president of Cape Cod Community College, and very much interested in supporting the needs of the airport as well as the Cape, and very much into aviation maintenance and looking for more growth opportunities and supporting aviation going forward on behalf of the college.
Thank you, John.
Can I just comment that we have a huge program between this airport and Plymouth Airport. It's absolutely an exciting opportunity for young students who are going into the business of being airplane mechanics. There's just not enough of those. These kids are hired immediately for well-paying jobs, and it's a very, very successful program.
All right, let's see how we did. Bob, Paul, David, Carol. Christine. Did I get it right, Carol? Okay. Christine, Linda, Katie, Kyle, Kim, Christina, Aline, Joe, Wendy, Margaret, Jeff, Bob, Peter, Eric, John, Norm, David, Gordon, Mark, Paul, David, Betsy, Brad.
Very nice. And your name is? And your name is?
I forgot by now.
That's right.
My name is Mark. And who's behind the camera over there?
David.
David, okay. All right. Good job. All right, so here's the agenda. And this is just the agenda for tonight. All right, and we'll cover the agenda for the next sessions as we get to them. So we just did the introductions. We're going to review the agenda. And then we're going to talk about something called consensus. It's really, really important that we get this piece down because it becomes the mechanism by which we are going to reach agreements on. All right? It's got what we're going to use. And if we cannot use it, if we cannot state it, then we haven't got there yet. We have more work to do. All right? Then we're going to go into the MVP. It says mode. It should say model. MVP model. We're going to talk about mission, vision, and philosophy. That's what MVP stands for, right? Mission, vision, and philosophy. And we're going to define them. Because I guarantee you, you have seen mission statements that are vision statements and vision statements that are mission statements. And that just comes up the works. So they each have a distinct purpose and they have to be used the right way. And then we're going to review the Cape Cod Gateway Airport mission statement, the current mission statement. And that doesn't mean it's going to be the mission statement we're going to continue with. Maybe it is, I don't know. We all think it's great, you can just keep on marching. And then reserve 15 minutes at the end for any questions and any issues that came up that went into the parking lot. Okay? All right, so we have on these poster boards, before we get there, I want you all to ask yourself a couple of questions. The first is, why are you here? And this is rhetorical, but I want you to think about it. I know you said what your expectations are, but really think about what you want to do, what you want to create, and how groundbreaking do you want to be? How much you want to get out of the mold of what is typical and really start thinking about what it could be. Okay, so, and by the way, on these slides, there's a notation up here that tells you what page in your book goes with the slide, in case I distract you and we moved on or something. So, why strategic planning? So whenever you undertake any major task, a strategic plan is an extremely effective asset. It ensures stakeholders carry out a carefully mapped out process to ensure that we get to the desired outcome. Two sayings you may have heard before. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And the other is control the process, control the outcome. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate the any road will get you there syndrome and focus on controlling the process and controlling the outcome. Cape Cod Gateway Airport today, as it is a result of all the decisions and actions that have been taken up to this point, right? This is our current state. So we also know that there'll be a Cape Cod Gateway Airport 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and the question is, what will it look like? That'll be our future state, and that's going to be the result of decisions that are made over the next 5 to 10 years. The collective outcome of the decisions that are made are what going to create that future state. So the question we have to ask is our future state going to be the result of happenstance, right? We're making decisions day to day, right? This comes up, we make a decision. This comes up, we make a decision. And then we end up somewhere. Or is it going to be the result of a plan? So that when this comes up, we take a look at it and say, well, how do we make a decision about this that stays within the context of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go? So our future state is the outcome from decisions and action taken between now and whatever that future point is. We need to define what those decisions and actions should be, and if we do, the outcome is going to be much closer to our target than if we just leave it up to happenstance. A strategic plan is the framework that we use to make those decisions. Does that make sense so far? Pretty basic, right? Paul, you able to hear me okay?
Much better, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so effective strategic planning requires a set of concepts. And these concepts form the context within which decisions are made. If the decisions are not developed within a greater context of purpose, direction, and value set, then you get random outcomes. They're not by design. So this requires a common belief of what the organization is about, where is it going, and how is it going to behave along the way. Probably one of the rarest statements that you'll see is a value statement or a philosophy statement, which talks about that. It talks about what the organization believes in and values and how it's going to conduct itself. Without that, you could make a decision that's aligned with your mission, but it could be contrary to what your organization's values are, and you're not staying true to purpose. So that's what mission, vision, and philosophy does. Okay, so let's have a little exercise here. We're going to take a drive across the country. All right, we're going to start in the East Coast, that's our current state. We're going to end up on the West Coast, that's our future state. Is that enough to start our trip? If we just jump in the car and start driving west, we're eventually going to get to the West Coast, right? Were we successful? Well, it depends on what we intended. If we end up in Seattle, Washington, when we really wanted to be in San Francisco, we weren't really successful. We missed our target. So we end up with a future state that was not well enough to define for us to get to where we wanted to go. And here's all the things we didn't talk about. What about sightseeing along the way? Which is the best route for traffic? Are we in a hurry? We're going to plan the most efficient use of highways and not back roads? Are we going to drive straight through and take turns driving? And if not, where do we stop for overnights? Should we bring food for nourishment or plan to stop to eat at restaurants? What funds will we need for gas, oil, food, lodging? What type of vehicle should we take? These are all things that need to be determined before we get in the car and start heading west. And then we have to figure out the route. So we want to end up in San Francisco, California. We want to get there in 10 days. Along the way, we want to visit Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore, and the Grand Canyon. The most direct route is 3,158 miles, but when we do the sightseeing, we're going to add 1,041 miles onto it. So now the total route is going to be 4,199 miles. Why is that important? Because we have to figure out, how much we're going to drive every day as we spread this out. So with the average speed of 65 miles an hour, we're going to drive an average of 420 miles a day, and that's 6.5 hours of driving. And we're going to take this route, right? We're going to get out of here, go on to I-90, we're going to follow I-90 west all the way out, just about all the way to Yellowstone. To Mount Rushmore. We've got a couple of South Dakota routes that we're going to get in there. Then we're going to get back on to 16 west, and we're going to take that back to I-90, go down US 191 south to Yellowstone. Then we're going to get on US 20 west to I-15 south to Utah 20 east to US 89 south to Arizona 64 west to the Grand Canyon. And then we're going to take 64 west to I-40 west to California 58 west to 15 north to I-580 west into San Francisco. So now we've mapped out our route. We know exactly how we're going to go. We have something to follow. We're going to take a GMC Yukon, so we have plenty of room for luggage and supplies. Average is about 20 miles per gallon on the highway, so we're going to need 210 gallons of gas. And we know that because we figured out how many miles the trip is going to be with the sightseeing, and that's why that part was important. At an average price of $3.50 a gallon, it's going to cost us $735 for fuel. 9 hotel stays, average lodging cost $150 a night, so we need $1,350. This is based on 2 people. So if we're going to add, we have to change our calculations. But this is the yardstick we're starting with. And then $50 per day for meals, we're gonna need $500 for that. So, here are the critical elements for strategic planning.
Mark, you're not eating well at $50 a day.
I'm sorry?
You're not eating well at $50 a day.
You're not eating the way you eat. But I'm real good at driving through McDonald's. Although I'll tell you, have you seen the prices at McDonald's lately? It's hard to get out of there for $50 a day. Okay, so we need a set of guiding principles that maintain our focus on where we're going, why we're going, and how we're going to behave. And that creates that common fabric that we're going to use to establish our future state, when we're all in agreement on it. So, why we are going could be that we all need a fun vacation and relaxation. That could be our why. That could be our purpose. Where? Somewhere with lots of vineyards, art, culture, and history. Sound like San Francisco? But often forgotten is the how. How are we going to act along the way? And we touched on a couple of these things before. Is the driving going to be shared? Are we going to honor bathroom stops as they come up? Or will we insist on sticking to predetermined stops and you just have to hold it? A perpetual argument between my wife and I whenever we take a trip anywhere. Will we travel over the speed limit if we're late? If we're on time? Right? I know I have a hard time driving at the speed limit, but I've learned. Will we share food? Will we agree not to talk politics, sex, money, or religion during those long hours in the vehicle together? Right? Let's get that taken care of right away. Okay. So agreeing to a set of behaviors we all subscribe to prevents downstream conflict, and even more importantly, it creates legitimacy. In case we go off track, it allows us to challenge each other, right? If we've agreed to this value set, if we've agreed to this philosophy, and we start doing something different, it's not just because Christine doesn't like it and she's going to challenge you on it. It's because this is what we agreed to and this is not what we're doing, and it gives her legitimacy in raising her hand and saying, hey, stop the show for a minute because I think we're going off track here. Does that make sense? All right. Oops, I think I went too fast. Okay, so we need goals derived from the guiding principles. I want to make sure I didn't skip something here. Yep. So we need goals derived from the guiding principles, and each goal needs a tangible, measurable set of actions to accomplish the goal, and those are called objectives. And a lot of people get objectives and goals confused, or they use them synonymously. They're two different things, and we're going to talk about that in more detail later. So, goals and objectives are often used, as I just said, interchangeably, but they're two different animals. They serve two different purposes. Goals are long-term, and they help us move towards our future state, or our vision. They're broadly defined, but they're specific enough to know when they've been accomplished. Whereas objectives are very specific. They're measurable. They work together to achieve the goal. Okay? So, here are all the pieces that we need. We need the overarching guiding principles. We need long-term goals. We need specific measurable objectives. We need a financial perspective, and we need periodic reviews to make sure that we're on track or we're not falling behind. And if we are, what course corrections do we need? So, you've all seen mission and vision statements. They're pretty common. They hang on corporate offices, hotels. I've even seen them in restaurants before. And they profess what their world should be, or what they think their world is anyway. But value statements, as I said, are not as common, and they don't get confused. When you have a value statement or a philosophy statement, you don't see words that look like a mission or a vision. Typically, if an organization develops a value statement or a philosophy statement, they're doing it for a very specific purpose. The name gives it away, okay? So they're true to purpose, they express the organization's beliefs, and they're unambiguous. But mission and vision, they're a little more nebulous. Some mission statements are actually vision statements, some vision statements are actually mission statements. I mentioned this before. And you have to have a solid foundation of your principal statements. If you get them mixed up, then you got a problem. They have to be true to their purpose. Each serves a critical role. And here's an example here. If your vision states why you exist, then where are you heading? Right? Your vision statement should talk about what you're going to become, not why you exist. So another critical misstep is statements do not tangibly touch the day-to-day. What do I mean by that? Does anybody work with an organization or has worked with an organization that had a mission statement or a vision statement? You have? Yeah? And when you went into work that day, did you pull out the mission statement, the vision statement, and say, okay, how is this going to affect what I'm doing today? How many did that? So they serve a wonderful purpose, right? They look really great framed on a wall. And that's where it ends. Somebody took the time to figure one out, put one together, but it doesn't really do anything for the organization. So there has to be a nexus between these statements and what we do every single day, so that everyone sees how what they do traces directly to the organization's purpose and how what they do contributes to moving the organization forward. It has to have that line of sight. Okay. So I know we all know this story, right? May 25th, 1961, President Kennedy addresses Congress, and he says that I believe this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before the decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth. That's a vision statement, right? That hasn't happened yet. He's talking in 1961. He's saying by the end of the decade. That's a pretty clear vision of what he wants to create. But what's the why? Why, right? He's got the where. What's the why? So he makes this address at Rice University, September of 1962. And I'm going to play it for you now. Now what he does in this is he takes, as an example, he takes the entire history of human development, 50,000 years, and he condenses it down to a time frame of 50 years. Okay, so what he's talking about is this condensed time frame. If we look at the entire history of human development, if it happened in 50 years, this is what the pace would be.
We meet in an hour.
I have to get rid of this presentation first, sorry. All right, here we go.
Of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of about a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait, If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Pretty epic, huh? Pretty inspirational. That's what
Last Saturday,
sorry.
one of our most dedicated and courageous presidents gave the nation his.
That's what a vision statement is supposed to be. It's supposed to be that inspirational. It's supposed to get you, your juices going and really be excited about it. All right. So, getting back to creating that line of sight and what we do day to day, how it's affected by our guiding principles. So, from that point on, everybody at NASA knew what their job was. And later that year, President Kennedy is visiting the Space Center in Cape Canaveral. And they're giving him the tour of the facility, and he sees a janitor sweeping the floor. And he goes over to him and he says, "Hi, I'm Jack Kennedy. What do you do here?" And the janitor said, "Well, Mr. President, I'm helping to put a man on the moon." Right? That was his line of sight. From what he does every day, he knows how important keeping that facility sterile is to successfully putting a man on the moon. And that's what we want to create. That make sense? Yep. Okay, so that's a great illustration of how guiding principles connect directly to our day-to-day. And keep in mind that if the map of our action lies along a different path than our conceptual map, then the organization's intent and its accomplishments will be misaligned. And that's why a strategic plan is so important. Okay. So the MVP model ties all of these things together in a cohesive, unified map. It provides clarity around our purpose, which is our mission, our future state, which is our vision, and the values and beliefs that we hold as an organization. That's our philosophy. It creates goals derived from the future state and objectives designed to accomplish those goals. It articulates our reason for being and how we're going to behave as we set about our tasks. It creates line of sight between our day-to-day and our guiding principles. All right, I mentioned consensus before. We're not going to get into deciding things at this session, but in future sessions we will. And so the concept of consensus, and I have it up on the boards around here too, is very, very important. And this is what it means. When it comes time for us to make a decision as a group, this is what we have to be able to say. I have had the opportunity to express my point of view, and I believe I have been heard. That's the most important thing. I believe I have been heard. That doesn't mean that everybody agrees with what you said, but you have to believe that they considered what you said and they thought about it, that they heard you. Okay? Then the next part. Although this decision may not be my first choice, it is a good one and I can and will support it. What that means is that I had a better idea, tried to sell it, people listened to me, but they didn't quite get there. They had this other idea, and I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's as good as my idea, but it's a good idea, and I can support it, I can get behind it. And so when you say that, and then you leave, you don't go to your buddy or your pal or your friend and say, boy, what a stupid decision that was. Because then you're a hypocrite. So unless you can say this, you should not agree to anything. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to keep these boards out as we go through these other sessions. And there are times when I'm actually going to take the board when we're at a decision point, and I'm going to carry it around and say, can everybody say this? Okay? All right, I want to give you a little history about where this came from, this model came from. W. Edwards Demings, who knows who that is? Actually, you do.
They built Toyota.
Six Sigma.
Six Sigma, and where did Six Sigma come from? What was the concept that he created? Does anybody remember TQM? Total Quality Management, right? So what happened was, at the end of World War II, we had just destroyed every manufacturing country in the world except ours. Okay? We were the only ones that were producing goods. And because of that, we were just churning them out. We didn't care about quality because the world had no choice. There was nowhere else they could go to get their stuff. So we're just churning them out. And Demings realized this, that this was going to be a problem downstream because these countries were going to rebuild themselves. And so he went in front of Congress and he said, we have a problem. We have a quality problem. And we need to address it or we're going to lose market share in the world. And Congress said, well, thank you very much. And then they just went on with their business and ignored him. So who hired him? Japan brought him over, right, Toyota, right? And they were rebuilding themselves and they said, okay, what's this total quality management thing? And so he taught it to them. And it's all about fixing defects when they're first identified, because it costs you 100 times more to fix it downstream than it does when it first happens. And that everybody has to buy into the concept that quality is the most important thing as we're building something. Okay, so now fast forward, we're in the 60s and 70s, and what's happening to the US automotive industry? We're getting our butt kicked, right? By cars coming from Japan. They're better quality, they're cheaper. So GM says, we got to figure this out. So their vice president of HR was Dr. Delmar Landon, or Dutch. And they sent Dutch over to Japan to find out what the secret was. And he found out the secret was the guy that tried to warn us before. It was Demings. And so he convinced Demings to come back to the United States and give us one more shot. GM wanted to talk to him. So he goes and he makes a presentation in front of the board for GM. And they said, okay, well, how do we start? Because we can't just flip a switch and all this changes. And Demings said, do a pilot project. And so, okay. So they did a pilot project. They set aside a factory to build this particular car. And they employed Demings' techniques in which the employees were in charge of the production line. And if any employee saw a defect, they could hit a button and stop the production line. And a quality team would come over and say, okay, what's the problem? And they'd show it to them. And that production line would not start again until that defect was fixed. Does anybody know what the car was? Pontiac Fiero. We're all driving Pontiac Fieros today, aren't we? Car didn't last long because the engineering was poor on the car. Right? It had a mid-engine, no trunk space, and so that's what killed Pontiac Fiero. It just wasn't selling. But the quality part was working. And so Demings dared him, our GM, to really go bold on this. And so they offered all the employees they want to shut down the Pontiac Fiero plant. And they offered all the employees a choice. You can keep your place in the UAW. We will reassign you to other manufacturing facilities. Or you can quit your job. You can quit your union. You can move down to a place called Spring Hill, Tennessee, where you will participate in designing the production facility and the car and the quality system. And every employee on the Pontiac Fiero project did exactly that. They moved down to Spring Hill, Tennessee, and what did they create? Saturn. That's where Saturn came from. And do you remember when Saturn first came out? There was no haggling over the price. The price was the price, right? You walked in and you bought it. If a pot broke on Saturn, you brought it back and they replaced it right away. It was all covered. So that was a very, very exciting time in terms of the quality process that was moving forward in the United States. This guy here, Patrick Dolan, now we're around the time of the controller strike in '81. And we didn't want to start that adversarial relationship I was talking about with the new union. And so the FAA hired Patrick Dolan to take these quality processes and put them in a labor context where union and management could work together to solve problems. And the way the process worked was the air traffic facility manager and the air traffic facility union rep were the gatekeepers. If somebody had a problem, they have a choice. They could file a grievance or they could put it into this process. If they put it into this process, all of the timelines in labor relations were suspended. In case the process failed, it would kick back out and then it would pick up with the traditional labor relations, would be filing a grievance and all that stuff. If they put it into the process, then the air traffic manager and the union rep would look at it and say, okay, here are the boundaries that a decision can be made in. It can't cost more than this much money. It can't violate any law, rule, or regulation. It has to happen within a particular set of circumstances. And they would agree with that, and then they would give that to the problem-solving team that was made up of half union, half management. And if the team stayed within those boundaries and came to a decision, the manager would not change it, and the union would not grieve it. And that's how we started our relationship with that guy. It was a quality, and it was all built around quality. I don't know if anybody remembers a slogan that Ford had a while ago about quality. What is it, Betsy?
Quality is job.
Quality is job one. You know where that came from? Patrick Dolan. He was a consultant for Ford, and he's the one who came up with that. So I didn't know Demings, but I studied under Dutch, who was a really cool guy, and then Patrick Dolan trained me because I was taken out of the air traffic operation and designated as a QTP consultant. I represented management. I had a partner who was a union rep, and we went around and we went to air traffic facilities and we taught them this process. And that's where all of this came from. Okay. So, here's the model. We start with the mission. We have a vision. Goals are derived from the vision statement. And then we come up with objectives for each goal that are designed to accomplish them. And as we do that, we have to ask ourselves 3 questions. Is this in line with our mission? Will it move us towards our vision? And does it reflect the values and beliefs of our philosophy? And if we can't say yes to all 3, it doesn't come in. And that's what keeps us aligned and on track. Any questions so far? Does it make sense? Okay. So, the MVP strategic model establishes the relationship between the 3 concepts. It links them to tangible goals and objectives. And once the model is in place, goals can be developed based on the agreed upon vision. Objectives are created designed to accomplish the goals. And we ask those 3 questions. And you're going to hear this over and over again. Is it in line with our mission? Will it move us towards our vision? And does it reflect the values and beliefs of our philosophy? So, issues are then handled within the same MVP context. And now we're back to the day-to-day stuff, right? So something comes up, we make a decision. Did we just make a decision? No, we have to make a decision within this context, or else we're going to go off track. And it only ensures that we resolve problems in a way that moves us forward in agreed upon manner, with agreed upon strategy, but it creates ownership in the outcomes because the people involved design this thing. They own it. It instills excitement in the organization as we actually accomplish what we set out to accomplish. It aligns goals at the strategic level with objectives in our business plans and performance outcomes in our individual plans. And that's how far you can take this thing down. So So you have individual performance plans, or I assume that a lot of people in their work life had performance plans or performance reviews, right? And there was some sort of a performance plan that you were, they discussed with you at the beginning of the performance year, and then maybe there would be a mid-year check-in, and then at the end of the year, they sit down and say, okay, how did you do? Well, within the performance plans, you create outcomes that are tied to the objectives that support the goals that move us towards our vision. And that's how you create the line of sight between what people do day to day and what we're trying to achieve. So, now let's get into what these statements really mean. Mission. Why are we here? What's our purpose? What is it that we do? Vision is different. Vision is, where are we headed? What are we going to become? What do we aspire to achieve? And what will we look like when we get there? When we design Hyannis Airport 5 years from now, what will it look like? Will it look exactly like it does right now? 5 years ago? I don't know. What did this airport look like 5 years ago?
It's quieter, a lot quieter.
Quieter.
Quieter in
Yeah.
terms of just activity.
Sure, yeah.
There's a lot less activity on that.
Yeah, did we have commercial service back then?
We did, we had JetBlue and we had Cape Air.
Okay.
Now we have American.
Now we have American. Which, by the way, I'm living in Washington, D.C. I really hate to see American being a seasonal service. It's so easy to get here from there, direct flight. Okay, and then we have our philosophy. What do we value? What are our beliefs about our organization, our people, our customers? How should we behave? So now we're going to do a little exercise. If you understand what a mission statement is, it's why we exist, what's our purpose for being. A vision statement is where are we headed, what are we going to become, and our philosophy statement is about what we believe in. So take a look at this statement. Is this a mission statement or a vision statement? I heard mission. Be the best in the eyes of our customers, employees, and shareholders. Are they? Anybody else? Vision statement, Margaret.
Vision.
David. Vision. Why is it not a mission statement? It's an aspiration. Are they the best yet? Because if they were, they wouldn't say be the best, right? They'd say stay the best or maintain the best or something along those lines. But it's an aspiration. It's what we want to become. This is a mission statement. American Standard. Their mission statement is a vision statement. Okay, our company is in the home improvement business, and our goal, giveaway, is to provide the highest level of service, the broadest selection of products, and the most competitive prices. Mission or vision? Go ahead, throw it out there. Mission?
Both.
Yeah.
Both?
The first part of it is mission, the second part is vision.
Exactly, Betsy. This first part is vision. I mean, it's mission. Our company is in the home improvement business. That's why we exist, right? That's a mission statement. But then they continue on, and our goal is to provide this other stuff. So they have a mission and a vision statement all stuck together in one statement. They're using it as their mission statement. Home Depot. Okay, next one. To sell food in a fast, friendly environment that appeals to price-conscious, health-minded consumers. Mission or vision? Vision? Any other ideas?
I think that's a mission statement.
You think it's a mission statement? Why, David?
Because it says what they do.
Is there anything aspirational in that?
Well, I think it says why they do it.
Right.
With the idea of appeals to price-conscious, health-minded consumers, but it doesn't necessarily say we're going to get more of them or we're going to expand into some other area.
Sure. You get that, Betsy?
I guess the to sell is the part that sounds visionary.
Yeah, I think if they put like to sell more food or to sell a greater selection of food, something that talks about something that they're not doing right now. But, and you're gonna laugh at this, KFC is doing this right now. Well, except for the health-minded consumer piece. But this is what they're doing right now, and they're using it as their vision. This is their vision. How aspirational, how excited are employees about this vision statement? So you see, if we don't use the right statement in the right place, it really becomes just a statement hanging on the wall. Okay, our company's mission is to be the most successful computer company in the world at delivering the best customer experience in markets we serve. Vision? Anybody say anything else? Vision?
Yeah.
It's Dell's mission statement, but it's a vision statement. Again, they're not using it the right way. By the way, Jerry Maguire, I was so frustrated by that movie because he said it was a mission statement. And it wasn't, it was a vision statement. That's why I guess I don't like movies that he's in. Anyway. Okay, mission and vision, to create a future of zero crashes, zero emissions, zero congestion, and we have committed ourselves to leading the way towards this future.
Vision.
Vision, right? Screams vision. And guess what? GM got it right. They're using it as their vision statement, as they should. Okay, one more. To prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. Mission? Who said mission? Margaret? John? Betsy? David? That's right. It's a mission statement. And the American Red Cross is using it as their mission statement. So some of these organizations do get it right, but so many of them do not. Okay, so this is a little bit fine print here for you to see from the back of the room anyway, but it's on page 18 of your book. This is the FAA Managers Association. The FAA Managers Association, or FAMA, is a nonprofit organization that represents supervisors and managers within the FAA. They're not a union, because management can't unionize. They're an employee representation association, and they have access to the FAA administrator and the chief operating officer on a regular basis to make sure that the concerns of managers and supervisors are being heard, and they lobby Congress as well. So, this is their mission statement. We promote aviation safety and efficiency, advocate for our members' interests, prepare the managers of today to be the leaders of tomorrow, and support the highest ideals of the federal government. Did they get it right? I hope so, because I did this model with them. So. Their vision: to become the premier advocacy group for aviation and government leaders, establishing our influence and expertise within the United States and around the world. Pretty aspirational, huh? And then their philosophy statement. We are the men and women of the FAA Managers Association. We respect our members' time, effort, and resources, okay? There's a value there, respect. We believe in respect and compassion for employees entrusted to our leadership, their managers and supervisors. They have employees working for them. So there's another value that they respect and value their employees. We value excellence in public service. We embrace the change that will be brought about by the next generation of employees and technologies that are already thinking about what the next generation of employees is going to be like, and they're ready to embrace them. We are committed to achieving the highest levels of aviation safety and efficiency. So safety is another value, efficiency is another value, and our actions demonstrate consistency in our ideals, our relationships, and our treatment of others. So, when they develop a goal, from their vision statement, they have to make sure that it's in line with their mission. It's going to move them towards their vision, and it reflects the values and beliefs of their philosophy. So, if they developed a goal that said, increase discipline among the rank and file workforce, would that fit? Would that go in? What does it conflict with?
Embracing the change.
Embracing the change where?
The next generation.
Right, in their philosophy statement, right? It conflicts with that value. A couple of different values that they have in there. It doesn't match. It might align with the mission. It might move them towards a vision. I don't know. I doubt it. But it definitely conflicts with the philosophy. So it doesn't come in. John?
Well, I just said it conflicts with we respect our members.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's why the philosophy statement is so important. And that's why you probably don't see it all that often, because it actually creates a legitimacy to challenge the organization when it doesn't behave right. You know, it's pretty hard to put something up on the wall, and then when somebody says, hey, wait a minute, we're not doing that, shut up, sit down. Okay. Now, let's go back to our road trip. Let's take some time. This is on page, is it up there, 17 on your book? Go ahead and take a shot at writing a mission statement for your road trip, a vision statement, and a philosophy statement. All right. Who feels brave?
When you sat down, it wasn't loud.
Okay, listen up, folks. Let's go. Now, we're going to get started again.
Class is in session!
So Matt is going to read out his mission, vision, and philosophy statements for the road trip. Let's see how he did.
So the mission, complete a coast-to-coast road trip.
Okay, stop there. Right, does that pretty much set down the purpose? Okay, go ahead.
The vision is to create and enjoy the most exciting, adventure-filled sightseeing road trip to achieve a deeper connection with the country's natural beauty.
Wow. That's good. Pretty good. Pretty aspirational. I like it. All right.
The MBA worked.
The MBA worked.
Philosophy, I had 3 points. Maintain a predictable travel schedule. Respect all travelers' restroom break requests. And follow all federal, state, and local laws along the way.
All right. All right. Good. Good. Good job, Matt. Any questions or concerns? Okay. Who else wants to go? John.
My mission was we intend to travel via auto east to west, stopping at various landmarks for our enjoyment and our pleasure.
Okay. Read that one more time.
We intend to travel via auto east to west, stopping at various landmarks for our enjoyment and pleasure.
Okay. So he stated this is the purpose of the trip, right? Pretty much in line with the mission statement? All right, vision.
Vision, we are headed to San Francisco to enjoy a vacation of sights and landmarks, feeling excited and fulfilled as a result.
Good.
And my philosophy was, we value a peaceful drive, democratic decision-making on food and radio stations, and respecting each other's opinion.
All right. 3 values, right? Your vision statement. At the end of the vision statement, read that again.
We are headed to San Francisco to enjoy a vacation of sights and landmarks, feeling excited and fulfilled as a result.
Okay. So that's what, when he thinks about what happens in San Francisco, he's putting in some adverbs in there about how we're going to feel. I mean, not only are we going to get there, but this is how we're gonna feel. And so, from that vision statement, he's gonna have to develop goals and objectives that will meet making people feel fulfilled, not just getting them there, right? All right, who else?
I can go.
Oh, good, Katie.
See the country from coast to coast is my mission. The vision is I want to travel from coast to coast at a slow pace to take in the beauty of the country and cultures. And philosophy is value the cultures in our multicultural country and experience them without being rushed. Be respectful of other cultures within our own country and accept others' behaviors.
Solid philosophy statement, right? Talks about values and beliefs. Read your mission statement again.
The mission statement is travel the country from coast to coast.
Pretty succinct, right? That's what our purpose is. Travel the country from coast to coast. Okay, now read your vision.
I want to travel the coast to coast at a slow pace to take in the beauty of the country and cultures.
What does that sound like?
Mission.
Mission,
Ah,
right, Carol?
okay,
You got two mission statements and a philosophy statement.
okay.
What's inspirational about your vision statement?
About my vision statement?
Yeah, what's aspirational or inspirational?
I would say to take in the beauty of the country and cultures.
But that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
What?
Not aspiration, what I
Right?
aspire to do.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Got it? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Who else? Come on, one more. Be brave. David.
My mission statement was to safely transport 2 adults from Massachusetts to San Francisco, California. 10 days while allowing for various touring stops along the way.
Okay.
My vision was to create a memorable journey across the country while learning about the history and geography of the United States.
Okay.
My philosophy was be as fuel efficient as possible, compromise as needed to minimize conflict, be open to changing plans due to weather and unforeseen circumstances.
Solid mission statement, solid philosophy statement. Read your vision again.
To create a memorable journey across the country while learning about the history and geography of the United States.
Okay, so create a memorable journey. Somewhere around the Grand Canyon, the car went off the cliff. You survived, you're gonna remember it.
Memorable.
Is that-
will who watch it.
Is that inspirational and aspirational enough to be a vision statement? Right? Certainly will be memorable. Okay, good, thank you for sharing. This is important because until you try this stuff on, you don't really know how it's supposed to work. And that's also why you have to be in this session in order to do the other three. Because if you don't get this stuff, then when we start getting into developing mission, vision, and philosophy statements and goals and objectives, you'll be lost. Okay, let's have one more. Nobody? Bob. Look at this guy. He actually used his smartphone to type it out. That's inspirational to me.
Did he use autocorrect?
Well, I think that goes without saying, right?
I did autocomplete.
Oh, okay.
Good. Just put in his words and this is what it came out with. Get there and back safely while maxing utility on the way.
Say that last part again, Bob. Get there.
Maxing utility on
Along
the
the
way.
way, okay.
Marginal utility. And then what's the middle?
So vision, what's your vision statement?
My vision was to see America. And my philosophy, which I do every day, is drive safely, be careful, watch out for the other guy.
All right, good. Good job, Bob. Okay. So what does he have here? Katie, say that again.
3 mission statements.
Well, he's got at least 2. The philosophy statement at least has some values in it, but the first 2 are both mission statements, right?
Yeah.
Because they contain purpose. And so this is good. This is really good because this is what we have to figure out, is how do you create a vision statement? Mission statements, fairly easy to do. Philosophy statements, fairly easy to do. vision statements, being able to imagine the future and talk about it and write about it in a way that isn't a fairy tale, but it's something that could be achieved if we set our hearts and minds to it. And that's the one that people struggle with the most, as you saw by these major corporations that had it backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Margaret, you brought up a word on the break there, burpee, right? Talk about that. What is that?
Well, in Deming's book, he writes about what he encountered working at the Toyota plant. And one of the things that he had to overcome was a bottleneck. And they ended up calling it a Herbie.
Herbie. Okay.
And I was sharing with him that when I was reading this, we had a president of a subsidiary, his name was Herbie, I won't say his last name. But he was the biggest bottleneck in the whole corporation.
So when you say bottleneck, what do you mean?
It's somebody that gets in the way of the process.
Blocking
And
behavior.
refuses to see anything but his own vision. And if it's not his way, forget about it.
So I'm so glad you brought that up, because I want to tell you a quick story where I encountered a Herbie. So one of my facilities when I was teaching this process was Boston Air Traffic Control Center up in Nashua, New Hampshire. That's the air traffic facility that controls all the high altitude airspace over the northeastern United States. And there was a facility team that was made up of, I think it was 8 union reps and 8 managers, and it was led by the facility manager and the facility rep. Man, they just could not break through. They could not get through the issues that they had. They couldn't get beyond their gripes to be able to see what the future could be if they started working together. And we spent a few months with them, and we're just not getting anywhere. So we came up with an idea that we needed to take them out of the facility. We needed to take them out of their context and put them in a setting that they had not been in before together. And so we went to the air traffic division manager at the regional headquarters in Burlington. John Boyce was his name. And we didn't think he was going to go for this in a million years. But we pitched it to him, and he said, do it. I'll get you the money. So, on a Friday afternoon, we piled everybody into a bus. One of those, touring buses, nice comfortable buses with the little TV monitors. Nobody could take a car. They had to go by bus. And we took them up into northern Maine to a bed and breakfast that was so small they had to share a bedroom. And there was only one bed in each room. So we literally had management and union in bed with each other. Day one, we did a canoe trip, and there was a union member, a union rep, and a manager in each canoe. One in the front, one in the back. The one in the back was blindfolded.
Oh.
How do you steer a canoe?
From the back.
From the back. So who did he have to listen to? The guy in the front. Forced them to listen. So we went through that exercise. And then the next day was whitewater rafting. This was the end of October. I remember still it was 39 degrees out when we were getting into our wetsuits outside. I was so cold. I had never gone whitewater rafting, and I was a little bit afraid of it. But I was so cold at this point, I just wanted to get onto the river and die, so the cold would stop. We had an area manager. Now I believe there's 5 areas up at Boston Center. It's a huge facility. And this one area manager was a Herbie. He was a blocker. He could not conceive of doing anything in cooperation with the union because they were all jerks and idiots. He had lost friends in the strike in '81. The people that he used to hang out with, he couldn't hang out with anymore. His kids couldn't hang out with his kids anymore. Somebody fired a rifle through the training office window at Boston Center during the strike. This was really a heavily emotional thing, and he could not see the new union as any different than the old, even though they were. So we go whitewater rafting, and this was a Category 4 rapid. We had to pull to the side first, and the guy had to explain to us how we were going to go over the rock, what to do, what not to do, all that kind of stuff. So off we go. And we're going down this raft. His raft goes over, the bow of the raft hits a rock and it pivots, and Ray goes flying over the side.
Oh my God.
2 Union guys grab him, pull him back. So at the end of each day, we gathered around this big great room in the Airbnb around this fireplace. We processed out the day. And so before we could even start, Ray's hand goes up. He says, I have to start. You guys know that I've been a blocker on this process from the very beginning. But when I was under the water, and I saw 2 Union guys reaching up, pulled me back out of the raft, whatever was there was gone. I'm the biggest champion for this process. And he was. And he really became a convert. So that's an example of how Herbie can become a champion. I'm glad you brought it up. Okay. So we have one more thing we want to look at. This is the Cape Cod Gateway Airport mission statement currently. Now, without even reading it, what is a signal that this may not be? There you go. Very good. Very good. It's too long. It's too wordy. The airport mission is to provide a safe and convenient air travel experience and high-quality aviation activities to the citizens of Cape Cod region and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. As a non-hub primary airport and a major transportation facility for Cape Cod, our goal, what happened?
Vision.
Yeah, we went right into a vision statement. Our goal is to foster local economic growth and to ensure that the airport remains an integral part of the regional transportation plan to meet the demand for present and future air travel for local Cape Cod residents and visitors to our region. What could you do right now with this statement?
Cut it.
To what? What would it be?
First sentence.
First sentence, right? The airport mission is to provide a safe and convenient air travel experience and high-quality aviation activities to the citizens of the Cape Cod region and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Boom. That's your mission statement right there. It doesn't have to remain. We're going to work a mission statement at our next session. But that's a great example of how you could bifurcate a statement and get rid of the visionary stuff and just stick to a mission statement. Any other comments or questions or suggestions about this? Do we have a vision statement?
No.
No. Do we have a philosophy statement? Do we?
No.
No.
Just have.
That's easy to comment on.
All right, so when we get back together again at our next session, we're going to work on developing mission, vision, and philosophy statements. If you did not attend this session, or if you left this session before it was complete, you're not going to be able to participate in the following sessions. You can observe, but you won't be able to participate, because if you don't have all this information, then you don't have enough inside your head to understand what it is we're trying to create, what it is we're trying to do. Okay? Is that fair?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what our goal is going to be, or for our next session, is to develop statements. When we finish, develop statements of mission, vision, and philosophy. And then the third session will be developing goals, and then the fourth session will be developing the objectives.
Fourth session will what?
Developing the objectives. Now, if you can't make all of the sessions, but you're here, that's okay, because you get it, right? You understand the mechanics of it, you understand the construct. So if you don't make it to the mission, vision, and philosophy development, that's okay, but you have to understand that by not being here, you granted your consensus, because we have to move forward, right? And I would suggest that the next session is the most important after learning what this is all about, because those statements are what are going to guide our future actions.
I noticed that you're filming. Is that video going to be available for people to look at again? I mean, even if you were here, there may be things you haven't heard, or because the sound's been a little difficult, or for somebody who wasn't here, at least when they're coming to observe, they have a better understanding. And how will that be possible to be seen?
So we'll place it as a link onto our website. The town will also have it under their on-demand, video on demand.
Okay.
But we'll provide a link right from a strategic plan page that's being developed.
Thank you.
So, keep,
Next meeting, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Nope, I just wanted the dates for our next meeting.
Yeah, oh, yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up. There was a change in the dates. Our next meeting was going to be, well, it is September 9th, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the date after that was gonna be the 23rd. But I forgot about this little thing that's happening that weekend, like my only daughter getting married.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Please do not share that with my wife, she does not know I forgot about it. Or my daughter, please.
Oh, but this would be a great place for expansion. Look at all the seeds.
Unfortunately, it's non-refundable at this point, so I'm stuck with Buffalo. So I had to move that back, or actually, yeah, back to the 16th. Does that cause a problem for anybody to be Monday night the 16th instead of Monday night the 23rd?
So we're meeting the 9th and the 16th.
The 9th,
and
the 16th.
And the 4th is still to be determined.
Okay.
Correct.
And it
No,
will
I
still
thought,
be the 5 to 7 o'clock.
no, the 4th is September 29th. And yes, it'll be 5 to 7 o'clock.
September.
Is that the place where I'm supposed to sign in?
Yes. Thank you, Bob. Did anybody not sign in with this? Okay, we'll get this around. Don't leave till you sign it. So this gets us to our parking lot and our Q&A.
Did you say September 29th?
September 29th.
That's a Sunday.
Notice how close I was. September 30th.
Okay.
I'll do a pen and ink change on that so I don't forget that.
September 30th.
If you're talking parking lot, you should mention people get their parking tickets validated.
Oh,
Yes.
so
Before you start the parking lot questions.
Yes, the stamp is next to the coffee. So if you're a little tired, get some coffee and stamp your parking pass.
Oh, and then what? You just present us?
And present that when you're driving out. And you won't have to pay.
Okay, so I just want to go around the room real quick to see if you have any questions and how you're feeling about your expectations when we started. Bob?
No questions, no expectations.
Okay. Karen?
I just have a concern that there are very few people here who are just homeowners in the surrounding community who will be impacted by whatever goals
Sure.
come out of this.
Yeah.
And so many people here are under, have interest in the airport or government or chambers of commerce or represent other people. But I don't see everyday homeowners and property owners who will be impacted here.
Sure.
And in order to put together a mission statement that respects the needs of the adjoining community,
Right.
it seems to me there should be more.
Sure.
I don't want to be the only voice for that.
Linda?
I represent 500 households in Yarmouth.
There you go.
Do you have a
Betsy
house? Do you
represent-
have a house in Yarmouth?
Oh, yes.
So you're near here, near the airport.
I'm right under the flight path.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Betsy
No, I
also
didn't sign.
represents.
And Betsy? Did you hear that, Carol?
Yeah.
So
and
Betsy and
And Gordon.
Gordon
homeowners.
changed seats on me. Now I have to really,
Great,
Also.
great.
um,
That makes me happier.
good, good. I'm glad you asked that question. And also, Carol, keep in mind that as you talk to your neighbors, you can be their representative. If they have concerns, you can bring them forward.
Yeah.
When we put the invitation out, that's all we can do is offer, right?
No, I understand that.
But yeah, feel free to collect information or concerns from your neighbors moving forward.
I will.
Okay. Good question. Good comment. All right. David.
I guess this is a question to Katie and Matt. If we wanted to get a little more context on the airport in general, what would be a couple of resources that we could look into just so that as we go about mission, vision, and philosophy that we can have a little more context? I know some aspects of the airport, but I'm not familiar with other things.
That's a good question. So oftentimes when we're providing that detail to the sessions that they have inside Barnstable, the town government,
okay.
We provide a really good overview of what the airport is within the town. So, and I've been using that same overview, David. I've been going and speaking at different town halls in different places within the Cape. and I've modified that and updated that. I can provide that on the website. That's just an overview of the airport on the strategic plan page.
Good. Good, so there's a strategic plan page now? On the website?
They're developing it.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, good, good. All right, Kyle,
Yeah, no questions.
okay? How are we doing on expectations?
Good.
You good? You there? You okay? Okay.
Strong.
Good. Katie?
No questions, expectations, that's
Okay, good, good, thank you. Linda? And thank you for chipping in there, that was important.
No problem.
Yep.
I thought that was a very good point, that
Yeah?
if you don't see people here who are just citizens, regular residents impacted by this, you would wonder what kind of process it would be. But no, we are here, and hopefully we'll be heard.
Chris?
This is very helpful and a great starting point, thank you.
Good, good, good.
presentation.
Thank you. Kim?
Okay, no questions.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Okay, good, good. Christina?
no questions, but a really interesting process.
Good, good. Because if it's not interesting, people don't show up to the next session, right? If it's, Helene?
No questions and great session.
Okay, good,
Start.
good. Thank you. The real infighting is going to start next session when we have to develop these statements.
Yeah.
Margaret?
Just double checking. The 9th, 1/3, and 3rd.
Yes, yes. Make it pen and ink change to your book.
16th.
I'm sorry.
16th.
The book has.
You don't want to go to that wedding.
Why not? We can drink, have cake.
He doesn't want to.
Guarantee you, if I don't go to that wedding, I will not be here on the 30th. You got the 9th, 16th, and 30th, right?
Got it.
Okay. Questions?
Nope.
Expectations? We doing okay?
Got it.
Oh, I detect a little something there.
I feel like I'm getting hit by the same brick twice on something.
You feel like you're getting it, but what?
We're gonna get hit by the same brick twice on something.
On subsequent sessions? Okay. That's good feedback, thank you. Wendy?
I'm really looking forward to see how you put together all of the expectations of everyone. This will be really exciting. It's a great experience.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Joe?
No questions.
How we doing on expectations?
Very good.
All right. Eric?
So far, so good.
Okay.
I've learned that my company does not have a vision statement. But I do know the difference now.
There you go.
And you won't be a Herbie.
Peter?
No questions. I like the process. I wish we used this process. Recently, we changed our mission statement and vision. So I'll bring it back.
Good, good. Don't tell me, don't, Bob?
I'm wondering what the mission statement is of this group. Are we going to get to an end result? I mean, what is the end result?
So the end result, when we come out of session 4, is that we will have statements of mission, vision, and philosophy that we've reached consensus on, and that we've developed goals and objectives aligned with our vision, or moving us towards our vision, in line with our mission, and reflecting our philosophy.
Is this
Right?
going to update to the mission, the strategic mission of the airport as a whole?
That's what this is.
You know, the last time I think was in 2022. Is this going to result in an update to that?
Yes, this is going to be the strategic plan for the airport. And then there's a dashboard that goes along with this, and it's designed to be 30 seconds at a glance. You can take a look at it, and you can see what's healthy, what's not healthy, and if there's anything that concerns you, you can click on it, and it drills down, and you can find out whether we're behind or ahead or whatever the problem is, so that you can monitor the health of the plan as we go forward. Okay? All right, good. John?
I've made it to San Francisco in my Yukon.
Didn't go off any cliffs. All right, good, thank you. Norm?
My expectations have been exceeded. I am happy to see the diversity of the group that is here.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed that the diversity isn't greater in terms of elected officials, state representatives, from the Cape and Islands, not just our own.
Yeah.
Congress, Cape Cod Hospital. I mean, I can go on. This is a regional effort, and I think we need to find a way to get input from more people.
Well, I think, and that's an excellent observation. I think that probably the best thing that we can do, and this is just me talking, is do such a great job with this that we get that word out that this is the process we followed, this is what we came up with. And remember, this is not the last time we're going to do this, right? Because a plan has to be updated as you go forward. I think I mentioned, I just finished my 3rd update with the University of Alaska. Right? Their plan now, in fact, it's in your book. It's a fold-out towards the back. This is what it looks like when you're done. Okay? There's their mission statement, there's their vision statement, there's their philosophy, here are their goals, here are their objectives. It's a one-pager. Now, the actual plan is more detail in it, but this is a quick reference on what their plan is. Okay, so, didn't start this way. First time around, much shorter, much smaller. The next time we did an update to this, we brought in 26 people from all across the state of Alaska. First responders, Alaska Native chiefs, cargo operators, helicopter operators, commercial airlines, military. So all of that, and I'm really glad you brought that up, and it's important because we were working on one of the goals in which we were going to bring supplies. Forgive me if I mentioned this before, but 83% of the communities in Alaska have no road access.
That's right.
They're totally dependent upon aviation to get them there, and manned aircraft requires weather reporting in order to be able to do a commercial operation. And there isn't a whole lot of infrastructure out there for weather reporting. So a lot of times, communities go without. It's really, really tough. And so our plan, we have these drones, right? I'm working with the Alaska Center for Unmanned Aircraft System Integration. We have these drones, and we're going to fly them out to these villages and bring them the supplies, and everything's going to be happy. Until the Alaska Native chief that was with us, he couldn't reach consensus on it. He said, okay, why? These are people, why would you not want to help them? He said, the commercial service that we have, the cost of each seat on that airplane that we use to get to our medical appointments and to visit relatives, and if we ever can, actually travel outside of the area, that's subsidized by the cargo that airplane carries. You take that cargo away from them by flying it up on drones, the passenger seat cost is going to skyrocket, and we're not going to be able to afford it. Right? What an unintended consequence. We think we're doing great things, but we weren't, and so we had to rework it. Okay, and that's exactly what Norm's point is. And so we're going to run into that on our first iteration. I'm sure we will. But hopefully the next time we go around with this, just like we did in Alaska the second time around, we'll get more input and more feedback that'll help us with that stuff. Okay, good. Thank you. David?
No questions? Just happy to contribute.
Good. Thank you for coming. Mark?
Good first meeting. Looking forward to the next expectations.
Gordon?
Same here. Things are going well. Thank you.
David?
It would be helpful to understand the current MVP programs. For the airport, the current mission statement, the current vision in schools. 2 is sort of a framework on current operating plan. And 3 is, once this is approved, where's it go? How's it go? Investments, prioritizations of investments. I think will be important.
Sure, that's the financial aspect that has to be part of it.
It was difficult to hear what he asked. Could you
Okay,
just summarize it?
thank you, Chris. So he said, first of all, it'd be great to see what the current MVP model is for the airport. There isn't one. This is the first time we're doing this model. We have a mission statement, but there's no vision statement, there's no philosophy statement.
Okay.
All right. So this is a first timer for this.
Okay.
Your second question or comment was You wanted to see the operating plan?
Yeah, the current framework.
Framework.
Yeah, of the operating plan.
Okay, so that would be our business plan, right? Okay, is that something that we could put on the?
Yeah, we
plan?
can put what our original goals were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the third was?
Is the impact of the strategic, of this MVP financial.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, once we put this together, that's when we start getting into the really pretty details. Some of this is gonna be done by the airport, right? Because they're the ones, and the town, because they're the ones who control the purse strings. But that's what the alliance.
But I mean, I think broad bigger, which is, and so it's common of not having representation
Yeah.
from the government, is having some from transportation, was access to funding for
Sure.
Infrastructure funding.
Like for grants and things like that, yeah.
Would have checked out.
Right, which goes back to what Norm's comment was, it would have been nice to have somebody from the congressman's office here, right?
Yeah.
The staff member from there, they can carry it back with them. But you know what? We're gonna have some shortcomings, we will figure out a way to fill them. We'll figure out a way to address them. And that's what's great about having a group like this, instead of just, Katie and the info commissioner sitting down and coming up with something, right? Brad?
No real questions or comments, just expectation. It's interesting to see how this is working and interested to see how it goes moving forward.
Good. Thank you. John?
No, I think it's been a good night. I mean, I think the first night of any strategic planning session is usually a kumbaya moment, and that's really kind of what this has been. But as we move this forward and really get down to nitty-gritty of vision and goals, especially goals and objectives, I'm a big stickler on indicators of success and timelines.
Sure.
I want everything measurable, otherwise these things don't work.
Yeah. What are the 4 stages of group dynamics? Stage 1 is what we're at right now, forming. Stage 2 is storming. That'll be our next session. You wait. The 3rd stage is norming. And the 4th stage is performing. And how we have this broken up, it's going to flow with that. Thank you for bringing that up. Matt?
I don't have any specific comments. I am interested, and I appreciate everyone starting to provide feedback and participate, and looking forward to the storm.
Yeah, here we go. Katie?
I would say the same thing as Matt, just in general, having that defined mission, vision, and the philosophy so that we can go back to that. I like that structure, to be able to go back to that and say, what am I doing? What is my next step? So I just like the structure of that.
Sure. Good. Eric?
I have no questions, and it was a great session. Thank you.
Good. Was it David?
Yes.
Behind the camera.
It was good. It was informative. I liked it.
Good. All right. So we're going to get you out of here about 5 minutes early. This was a lot in the first session. You guys did a great job. Thanks for hanging in there. And we'll see you on the 9th. I hope.
Thank you.
Yeah.